G'day battlers and welcome to week 2 of the Clash of the Casters, the finals where we finally find out once and for all who is the greatest caster of all time in Pokemon Go. If you don't know what the tournament is, essentially I've invited every commentator from the 2025 season from across the Play Pokemon circuit from every region, Latin America, Oceania, North America, and of course Europe as well, all into one open Great League tournament, 5 Swiss rounds where we find out who is the best. Today we are jumping into round 4. If you didn't watch last week's stream, we did see 4 battlers sort of emerge undefeated going into this week's stream. And so I guess the other thing that we might be bringing back is a few of the casters from last week as well with some brand new faces. So let's take a look at, with all of the casters busy, who we have casting today. It looks like I'm joined by North American International Champion It's Axon, Latin American International Champion MartoGalde, and European International Champion MEweedle. Stepping in last minute for Dunebug, who I guess was the runner-up from EUIC, so perhaps fitting that we've got the number 2 replaced by the number 1. So welcome in, gamers. Axon, how are we feeling? Clash of the Casters week 2. Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if it's happening for everyone, but the camera seems a little bit delayed, but I'm sure it'll catch up eventually. But regardless, welcome in. And Marto, how are we feeling? Welcome to the Clash of the Casters. I mean, look, how do you think I feel? I mean, what am I doing here, I mean, hey, I came top 6 one time. Johannesburg, second place. Yeah. Coming soon. Watch out, guys. But MEweedle, I forgot. You know what? I forgot to unmute you guys. Okay, from the top. Thanks, chat. Let's do this all again. I was unmuted. Cool. But Axon, welcome in once more to the Clash of the Casters. How are you feeling today?
Well, the first time you asked me that, I was feeling good. Now I'm feeling pretty bad about this. No, there's gonna be a lot of great battlers that we're gonna see today. I'm excited to see who comes out on top here, because I know at this point we have, I believe, 4 undefeated battlers still fighting it out for the win. We have some trainers trying to fight for second place as well. We know a lot about second place with one of our trainers that we have here as a caster. So maybe Weedle can give us some more information about that too.
Yeah, that's right. And Marto, use the same lines. Welcome back.
Yeah, I forgot what I said. No, I'm just kidding. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm surrounded by world champions. 2025 world champion, 2023, 2022. Yeah. And I'm just a humble guy, But yeah, very excited for the battles.
Yeah,
and for being muted as well.
Yeah. Finally, the unmuted stream. I mean, I just wanted to warm up your vocal cords. It was all part of the ruse.
I'm not censored anymore.
Finally unblocked. Marto freed. But welcome in, MEweedle again, taking over from Dunebug last minute. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Was a quick, get myself ready to do this, but I'm happy to be back for sure.
Yeah, this guy got messaged about 40 minutes ago, like, hey man, don't suppose you're free to hang out for another 2 hours? And look, lo and behold, the man is here. So massive shout out to Weedle for jumping in. Really appreciate it. But we'll sort of, Axon referred to sort of last week's battles. And so we can take a little bit of a recap of sort of what we saw last week. And these are sort of the final standings at the end of the round 1 stream, or the first 3 rounds of the stream. We have sophtoph from North America, Ice Chris and Rocha Babyface, both from Latin America, and DrTrotter from Oceania as the last 4 remaining undefeated battlers. Sorry, Weedle. Originally, this was going to be a no European cast, but we have no Europeans in the top 4. So, is there really anyone to properly root for? I guess for that, we might have to look further to take a little bit of a look at, I guess, what we're going to be seeing today, which is going to be 6 battles. The first 2 battles are, of course, the sort of undefeated battlers ready to go in for round number 4, undefeated. We've got DrTrotter versus Rocha Babyface. We have sophtoph versus Ice Chris. And then in round, I guess, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th battles we're going to be seeing today are that battle for second place. These are the battlers that will be sitting on 4... 3-1, looking to get that 4-1 placement and potentially second place on tiebreaker, where we have Stumpy 25-1-7 from Oceania versus TomahawkUK. You can guess where he's from. And then we've got Steps versus someone, and Speediest Chief versus someone. Of course, the 4 question marks going to be revealed by the 4 battlers from these first 2 rounds. So it'll be exciting to see sort of how it all rounds up. But I guess if we had to predict, I mean, I'll bring it back to you guys. If there was going to be a winner out of these 4 remaining battlers in the first 2 rounds, who are we backing? Who do we believe is going to be the Clash of the Casters 2025 champion? Axon, I'll go to you first.
At this point, it's kind of hard for me not to root for sophtoph. She's the last North American battler undefeated, and she's using the same team that I ran at NAIC. So if anyone but her wins, I'll be sad. But then again, I'm going to be excited to see every single one of these matches.
No bias. Marto, what about you? You've got 2 from LATAM to pick from, I guess.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I would pick the actual top 8 in the world, Rocha Babyface, also known as Rocho. He's an insane battler. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think he won last Clash of the Casters.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, he might have some talent up his sleeves. Maybe he's extra talented at defeating casters on the battlefield as well. Weedle, how about you? I mean, you can double up. There's only 4 faces here. Or you can, butter me up and pick the Oceanic guy.
Well, personally, I'm kind of hoping that somehow TomahawkUK kind of undoes his loss and then makes it all the way to the finals. But if I seriously had to make a pick here, I'd say Ice Chris is definitely still a good shot. I mean, he's got a regional championship under his name, and I face him quite often in GBL as well, so I know how good he actually is.
Well, that works out really nicely because I can then root for DrTrotter, and we've got the full rotation ready to go. We've managed to hold all the bases, not even pre-planned. We're just just that good at this sort of casting thing, I suppose. But with that said, we are going to get straight into it. With Axon and Marto are going to be casting the very first battle of the stream. It's going to be DrTrotter versus Rocha Babyface. You guys aren't going to see me for a while, but definitely looking forward to seeing some really cool battles today. So, guys, take it away.
It was a good ride. Okay,
all right, Marto.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this match? I know it's DrTrotter versus Rocha. Your pick here is Rocha Babyface. How are you feeling about this matchup?
Yeah, I'm on top of Rocha. It's like it was planned. This is gonna be an interesting matchup. DrTrotter's team is very wild, actually. Can you talk us about it?
Yeah, I was actually watching him play a lot in the first stream that we saw here. The Shadow Fortress, but not just that. Also the Shadow Caesar, the double bug steel type Pokemon. Very weak to fire, but we don't see any fire types on Rocha's side. What we do see is a Diggersby with Fire Punch. Is that going to be enough here to hold these Pokemon back?
Diggersby actually looks pretty good here, but Caesar sometimes can be super oppressing, with that matchup after a Trailblaze just gets a farm down. So we'll see if Diggersby can get its value, but it will limit DrTrotter's options. And I also see the Dust Clubs from Rocha Babyface unchecked.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's no dark types, no normal types to resist that ghost type damage. You have Ice Punch coverage for that Cradilly as well. I feel like Dust Clubs comes every single match. And the thing about the Shadow Caesar is it's a Pokemon that on even energy or up energy, it can do a lot of work, but down energy, it's a Pokemon that can feel kind of useless. So I think Rocha, he knows how to play around these matchups. He knows how to get an energy lead, maybe get a shield advantage, and that's how he's going to be playing. I almost certainly expect to see that Dusclops, maybe that Diggersby as well, maybe some third Pokemon that is also at least soft into those bug steel types, but not necessarily weak to it. And in game number 1, it's going to be down to those calls on who can bring the right Pokemon, but not just that, who can dance around with the shields properly.
Yeah, I agree. The Dusclops Diggersby core is looking really strong, and I think the Caesar might also come every game. We'll see how Rocha Babyface defends against that.
All right, first game, we see one of the bug steals, the Shadow Fortress. No Caesar, but the safe swap of a Talonflame.
Yeah, this is a very rough start for DrTrotter, but he gets an energy lead with the Talonflame and forces this Diggersby to use its energy.
Yeah, Diggersby is not generally good into Talonflame, but it can do quite a bit more work since it's on Quick Attack now, whereas before, in previous metas, we used to see Mudshot, and the Talonflame staying and taking a lot of chip damage. Fly or Bravery, I did not see which move this was actually being thrown. This will be a Fly. It comes through and does about half of the remaining HP of the Diggersby at this point, and your Fortress is looking pretty strong as long as it avoids this Pokemon.
Yeah, Diggersby is not that bad into his matchup, but Rocha has taken too much damage here and is forced to shield the second charge mob, and will have to, again, use his energy.
Yeah, and at this point, going down that shield might be all it takes for that fortress to start unwinding the backline. Dusclops does resist that bug-type damage, but those bug bites still do 2 damage per turn. We actually see a shield here from DrTrotter, a debuff, and then an instant fly thrown right after.
Yeah, DrTrotter really wants switch advantage, and Rocha is gonna grant him switch advantage. We'll see which Pokemon he uses to farm down this Talonflame. Dusclops is gonna probably take a fly before farming down, unless he throws the Shadow Punch.
Interesting. Not wanting to take the damage here. It would have been a debuffed fly, which wouldn't have done that much, but at this point, Rocha valuing HP more than energy, knowing that Dusclops can generate that energy so quickly. We see the Cradilly with Bullet Seed come into the Dusclops here. Very interesting matchup. Ice Punch is super effective, but from a Dusclops, it's not going to do all that much here to Cradilly. You can take 2 of these pretty easily. And with debuffs coming through, this is going to be kind of a tricky game for Rocha to come back from, saying there is going to be that Golisopod into Shadow Fortress later on.
Yeah, Bullet Seed is probably better for Cradilly in this matchup, but Dusclops can still hit it with Ice Punch. But also, Golisopod is going to be in the back line against a Pokemon that resists the Fury Cutter, so it's going to be a tough ending.
Yeah, Ice Punch being thrown here after the debuff. You can see it does almost nothing. You need a 3rd Ice Punch to knock out, and you're already at a Bullet Seed. There's a Rock Tomb, rather. You can potentially go for a Rock Tomb here, maybe even reach a Rock Tomb against the final Pokemon. I'm not sure if this knocks out quite yet. A Grass Knot would have been enough here. A Simul Swap. Golisopod comes into the Fortress.
He predicts the swap. That's insane play. And he throws the Aqua Jet before the Fortress can debuff this Golisopod. This is very important. And he banked a charge move on the Dusclops.
These bug bites are shredding through the HP, though, of this Golisopod. He doesn't even need the Rock Tomb. He goes for the Sand Tomb, knowing at this point that all you need is to fast move this down. You can take an Aqua Jet here, even without a debuff. Cradilly is still around in the backline. As long as you can bug bite down before a 3rd Aqua Jet is going to be reached, which it looks like that is going to be such an easy thing for the Shadow Fortress to do, I think DrTrotter is in a very good position in this game, number 1.
Yeah, this is Fortress full power, right? When shields are up, you just Sand Tomb and bug bite down, and Dusclops is going to be forced its energy or taken down by the Fortress. What a great game.
Yeah, DrTrotter had probably one of the most uncomfortable lead matchups that he could have seen there with his Shadow Fortress into that Diggersby. But I guess what we didn't really analyze at the start of this game was that Talonflame up energy is so hard for Rocha to take down. There is the Cradilly, which is a rock type, but it's likely on acid, which is not the quickest energy generation move in the game. Up energy, Talonflame can outpace, and there's just a lot of neutral play for that Pokemon. DrTrotter took very good advantage of that here to win that first game.
Yeah, exactly. But Talonflame is DrTrotter's most flexible Pokemon, and Rocha Babyface had to fast swap his Golisopod against it, but it's not even that comfortable of a matchup due to the Fury Cutters being double resisted, so very well played by DrTrotter.
I was interested to see the Golisopod come through on Rocha's side. I know it's a Pokemon that can have play into Scizor, it can have play into a lot of these Pokemon, but there are a couple of RPS matchups that it does have to face off against. I almost wonder if in game number 2, Rocha might adjust away from that Pokemon, maybe go for a Pokemon like his own Cradilly, which could be a tricky Pokemon to bring into a team with 2 bug steel types, but it could do just a little bit better potentially into a Pokemon like that Talonflame. And the fact that we saw Bullet Seed here on DrTrotter's Cradilly, maybe that makes it so it's slightly easier to bring that Mandibuzz.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I think Rocha brought the Golisopod expecting the Talonflame and the Cradilly in the back. It was just not aligned into them, right? He got it against the Fortress, and that was not the best matchup for it. So I think he's still going to bring it back again, but we'll see how he adapts for the second game.
And here we are,
Okay,
and you were absolutely right. There's the Golisopod. We see the Mandibuzz as well. Diggersby has been dropped, and a Shadow Scizor on the safe swap. A little surprised not to see a chip and dip with that X's or Aqua Jet before swapping out. Instead, we see a Night Slash come through from the Scizor before the Dusclops can throw any moves.
Yeah, I think this was a panic swap by Rocha Babyface, and it's going to lose him the switch advantage unless he starts to shield and he lets go the first charge move. So this is probably going to be a switch advantage for DrTrotter, but he also doesn't shield.
But take a look at this team on DrTrotter's side. He has a Talonflame and a Cradilly core. He can't really go down shields against a Golisopod. Then that Pokemon would start to sweep you. In fact, by having this Dusclops go down as well, this is kind of bad for DrTrotter. This might set up the perfect farm down for that Golisopod to start sweeping this game.
Yeah, exactly. I think Goliathbot is gonna farm down this Caesar, and it's not even gonna take a charge move. This is a very juicy farm down for the Goliathbot, and there we see it. You got a bit of a
This
up right there, but takes it down.
That's nasty. You have a full charge move loaded. Now, Talonflame, since you are on the Fury Cutter fast move, does not get one-shot by a charge move, and you can't really farm down either, but it still is a pretty good matchup when you have this much of an energy lead. Aqua Jet comes through, we see that shield, and now another Aqua Jet already loaded before even a fly can be reached.
Yes, but I think this is very uncomfortable for Rocha Vives because I don't think an Aqua Jet takes it out, and Cradil is still in the back, so Glycerbot needs to do a lot of work right here, and we'll see if it can take down the Talonflame and the Cradilly.
That's a good point. We know that it is on Bullet Seed for this Cradilly. A little bit quicker energy generation, a little bit less fast move pressure into the Mandibuzz. We haven't seen the Mandibuzz's moveset quite yet, I don't believe. So we don't know if it's on Snarl or on Air Slash, although I would assume Air Slash in this meta, so a little bit slower itself. Aqua Jet being reached, I bet Talonflame should survive this. Yeah, and at this point, do we see an Air Slash down? Not quite, not before a Brave Bird is reached.
Okay, interesting. DrTrotter uses his energy on the Mandibuzz here, wants to get a shield or a lot of damage, and gets a lot of damage, more than half HP. And the Cradilly comes in. I think Rock Tomb will take out this Mandibuzz, so we will see how Rocha Vives plays his cards.
I think that the tricky thing for DrTrotter, though, is his fast move pressure on this Cradilly is almost non-existent. That Golisopod still has a decent amount of HP left. I think it can reach an X-Scissor in the backline as long as this Cradilly is going to be not able to reach 2 Rock Tombs against you. You still have that shield. I would expect a no-shield here, trying to invest in your Golisopod at this point to try to reach an X-Scissor, then maybe Fury Cutter down the rest of that Talonflame.
Yeah, Rocha Vives has to be very precise here, has to build 2 charge moves, or maybe just take out the Cradilly and expect to farm down the Talonflame. Is going to be a very close endgame.
This is where Acid would come in handy. That would have a bit more fast food pressure, but in comes the X-Scissor, and now Talonflame doesn't have 5 HP remaining. I'm not sure it does. It's deep into the red. X-Scissor should knock out Cradilly. I think the Fury Cutters are going to knock out this Talonflame. Just a couple of Fury Cutters, and
so
it's a Simul! I did not think that was going to happen. Wow, what a game. Number 2 there, a tie, making it so now it is still 1-0, but Rocha, insane plays there, and a tie with a 1 turn into a 5 turn move. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was precision play by Rocha Babyface to take it down to a tie. You have to throw every charge move at the exact time to get that, and that was very impressive by Rocha.
Yeah, and that's showcasing why a 5-turn fast move can be a little bit clunky at times. Not having that damage register until 5 extra Fury Cutters would land made it so the Talonflame was not able to KO the Golisopod in time. It's still 1-0 for DrTrotter, so he is still in a good spot, but it's going to mean now Rocha does have momentum, and Rocha is still in the game. Rocha would prefer to win there, but it doesn't matter. I think we all know Rocha is a good battler who can still get the next 2 wins if he locks in here.
Yeah, we also have to say DrTrotter lost both leads, and he came back from one game and tied the other game. So that is very impressive, and we'll see how he plays the third game, I guess.
Yeah, game number 3 potentially gonna tie up the series, or maybe make it go to a 1-1, and we see Dedenne into a Shadow Sableye, a remarkably neutral lead, despite the fact it's a fairy into a Dark-type Pokemon, just because these Shadow Claws tear through the HP of this Dedenne.
Yeah, Sableye might force a shield here. Rocha Vives decides not to shield. He will let go of this Sableye. It's ABA kind of weak to this Dedenne, so I think he's fine with taking out this Dedenne, I guess, with the Power Gem. We'll see how much damage this does.
Doesn't quite get enough. The KO here, but it's able to put it into farm down range. And after this defense boost, honestly, Rocha's going to get a huge farm down on something in the backline if he does choose to let Sableye go.
Yeah, Rocha Vives is liking this. Dusclops, again, very flexible pick. So, he decides to farm down with Golisopod. So now he reveals his Golisopod, and it's going to be probably aligned to the, what's the name? I forgot, Fortress.
Yeah, Shadow Fortress comes back in. We didn't see it too much there in game number 2, but here in game number 3, it's once again aligned to the Golisopod, the exact matchup it wants to see. And in the back is a Dusclops, a Pokemon that we don't have a hard check for on this team, as we were saying at the start before we even saw these battles, going for the Rock Tomb to try to slow this Pokemon down.
Yeah, Rocha Vives decides to bank the energy. DrTrotter goes for the debuff, and this Dusclops is not going to do almost anything to this Talonflame. Talonflame can just let go of these Shadow Punches. So this is looking very comfortable for DrTrotter.
Yeah, the damage might do a lot, or might not do a lot from just a single Shadow Punch here. But the thing is, you're at 100 energy. It doesn't matter if one doesn't do too much. You're going to get to 4 or 5 Shadow Punches before you get incinerated down. This Talonflame is also in such an awkward spot where it's a 5-turn into a 3-turn move. This Dusclops can keep going for a 1 Hex into a Shadow Punch throw and make it so this Talon has just no opportunity to throw any attacks. We see a shield, and at this point, the swap should be up for Rocha if he does choose to swap back into that Gliscopod.
Yeah, this Dusclops is very spammy, but has to throw in a awkward timing and gets to a final charge move. I don't think this is going to take out the Talonflame. We'll see if DrTrotter decides to shield this, and it's all in on the Gliscopod.
I feel like this shield might have been a bit of a misplay, in my opinion. If he would have no-shielded, he would have survived the Shadow Punch, still got the 2 flies off, and had that shield for the Fortress in the back line. But now that you've ended up using that shield, if Gliscopod can properly over-farm, there's a chance you can reach an Aqua Jet here. You can reach an Aqua Jet against that Fortress as well in the backline. Rocha might be able to come back from this one.
Yeah, it's Gliscopod against the world, and it's going to be very important how much bug bite damage he takes, because he can only take so much, and farms a bit over the Aqua Jet. We'll see if he can take 2 Incinerates.
I think at this point, he farmed up to just needing 8 more Fury Cutters for the next Aqua Jet. If that's the case, only 1 Incinerate is going to land. And if that is the case, the precision by Rocha to only take that 1 move overfarmed perfectly, knocking out this Talonflame and evening up the series in game number 3 to make it go to a decisive game number 4.
That was once again a crazy game. It looked very dire in the lead AVA weak to the Dene, but Sableye can pull off its strings against it. And Rocha Babyface with some energy management take that game. It was pretty impressive.
I almost feel like in this series, winning the lead is not a good thing. It seems like energy lead is what these trainers are going for right now. We've seen DrTrotter get a win and a tie when he's lost the lead, and now Rocha with the Sableye into the Fairy type was able to overcome that matchup. So depending on what the trainers want to do here in game number 4, I would imagine at this point that they're going to be playing for that energy lead. I think Talonflame for DrTrotter is one of the best Pokemon that he can use for that. We saw in this game, Rocha utilizing that Dusclops with so much energy was such a nightmare for DrTrotter's team. So depending on who can get that energy lead first, I think that's going to be decisive here in the final game of the series.
Yeah, Talonflame is definitely the MVP for DrTrotter, and Dusclops making it throw at a comfortable timing. So that's also very valuable, and dancing around those plays. We'll see how game 3 goes.
And here we have it, actually, the 2 flexible Pokemon facing off in the lead. Who wins this head-to-head matchup? I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly. I would imagine the lower shielding scenarios, though, are going to be better for Talonflame.
Yeah, I'm also clueless about this matchup. I need to practice more of this, but we'll see. Dusclops is going to be, of course, more spammy. But Talonflame could go for the good timing there, but decides to get more energy with Incinerate.
Talonflame 1 Incinerate away from 100 energy here, which would mean they'd have back-to-back Fly plus Brave Bird, Shadow Punch coming through. Instant Fly, interesting. You don't have to throw in bad timing there. He could have done 1 extra Incinerate, but I think at this point, he just wants to guarantee either getting a shield or a decent amount of damage into this Dusclops.
Okay, goes straight for the Brave Bird, and can Rocha Babyface farm down this Talonflame? Oh, perfect precision hex down by Rocha Babyface. And what DrTrotter will do right here is come with the Cradily, with Bullet Seed once again, but Rocha decides to give out switch advantage.
That is such a smart play by Rocha. He knows at this point Fortress would just destroy him in the back line, but he did not want to play out that loose condition. Instead, he swaps into his own Cradily and baits out the opposing Cradily, keeping his Dusclops with so much energy in the back. I think at this point that Rocha is playing exactly like he needs to. That farm down with Dusclops was huge against the Talonflame, and now as long as you keep your Dusclops to start spamming out charge moves against that Fortress, you should still be in a good spot.
Yeah, DrTrotter is not falling for this bait out and decides to stay, but this Fortress is going to have a hard time taking down the Dusclops, so we'll see how this match develops.
A lot of debuffs coming through here for the Cradilies. We see Bullet Seed versus Acid. Acid is a little bit slower on generating that energy, but it does have a bit more faster pressure, so it's going to mean that despite Rocha swapping in to this matchup and trying to do as much as it can to this Cradily, it's still uncomfortable for both sides here. Rock Tomb once again going to be thrown. Is this enough to knock out Cradily? I'm not sure it will be from this range, and we do see a no-shield.
Yeah, I think this mirror lasted for like 2 minutes. There's going to be probably a timer game, maybe. But Rocha Babyface gets alignment once again, and it's going to farm down with the Gliscopod. And Cradily is not able to get to the charge move, so Rocha Babyface gets some energy advantage and forces DrTrotter to switch out.
Aqua Jet being thrown. At this point, this is the move you have to shield. It's going to do so much more than anything that Dusclops is going to throw him. Dusclops does come back in here, and it is low on HP, but it has so much energy. I feel like it's going to be a very hard bug bite down. And if you have to throw energy here, then maybe that Golisopod can still get to too many moves in the backline that it might make things uncomfortable for DrTrotter.
Yeah, Dusclops has way too much energy, and DrTrotter will have to spend 50 energy, which is difficult to get from bug bites. So this is looking very rough for DrTrotter.
Yeah, here comes the Rock Tomb, but not before another Shadow Punch is already reached. And I think at this point, you're getting into range where even just the fast move pressure from this Dusclops and that Golisopod could be enough to knock you out. You have to throw full-on Rock Tomb to knock this Pokemon out. And you try... Oh, this is an interesting play. You actually do reach the Rock Tomb on 1 HP. Could this be what it takes here for Trotter to come back in it?
Okay, Rocha Baby decides to shield. Will this Shadow Punch take out this Fortress? Decides not to throw. And this is going to be very close, but the Fortress still has to take out 2 Pokemon, so this looks pretty over for Rocha Baby.
Shadow Punch gets the knockout, and that is game number 4 in favor of Rocha Babyface. What a series. We did not expect a tie here going into this, but Rocha, despite the game 1 loss, despite the game 2 tie, was still able to win games 3 and 4 to become the second, or the first of 2 undefeated players making it to the grand finals.
First finals, yeah. Those were some insane games. Very flexible, very fun to watch. What a comeback from Rocha Babyface, and what a rough Pokemon that Dusclops is, right? It just starts spamming everything, and it's what makes Fortress not the best bug steel type in the meta, resisting the bug bites. But Fortress still had a lot of value in this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Shadow Fortress could have had a lot of play, but Rocha knew that Fortress was a very scary Pokemon for him to face off into. So what he did is he made sure, no matter what, win that lead matchup, keep Dusclops around, and use all of this energy to neutralize whatever that bug steal in the backline was going to be. We saw the Shadow Caesar in previous games, and that Shadow Fortress as well. Both have a lot of play, but being able to recognize that either one or maybe both would always be coming, and by Rocha to save that energy on Dusclops, he was able to overcome some of the trickier Shadow Pokemon that he could have seen.
Yeah, Dusclops just making the Fortress life miserable.
All right, and he was our first trainer to make it here into the grand finals. I believe we'll be seeing the next trainer here in just a second. Weedle will be joining you, Marto, to cast our next match.
Okay, take care, man. Welcome in, Weedle.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm glad I'm finally back. I was not expecting 4 games, so that was longer than I expected, but yeah, they were good. They were good.
It was a crazy match. And we also have a crazy match here, 2 heavyweights, right?
Yeah, we have Ice Chris against Sophtoph. As Axon already mentioned, Sophtoph is running his NAIC winning team, and Ice Chris on the left is using that non-Shadow Annihilate and a Shadow Quagsire. So we'll have to see how he pilots those.
Yeah, I like Shadow Quagsire. It's flexible. Sometimes it's a bit underwhelming, but it's going to be fun to watch this. And also, Sophtoph was running a team very similar to the one she's running right now, but it was Golisopod instead of Araquanid. And fun fact, it was also the team that Ilham used at NAIC, getting 2nd place. So very fun fact right there.
Yeah, it's closer to the 2nd place one. I mean, there's no like champion team or anything close to that one NAIC. That's similar. So. It's the Elam team, just with Araquanid instead of Golisopod. Surely.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the matchup goes. We have an Annihilate. Oh, in the lead as well. It looks very good in this matchup, actually.
Yeah, the Annihilate is very safe. Just has to watch out maybe a bit for that Dusclops with the double resistance to the counter fast move and that super effective Shadow Punch. But it is up against the Lapras, where they are both doing super effective fast move damage, but the counter is just slightly stronger and gets the same type of attack bonus.
Yeah, this is just a regular Annihilate, but it looks like Annihilate is going to be able to still get the farm down after the Rage Fist buff. But Sophtoph decides to give up switch advantage, realizing that she will not get it.
Yeah, this is a slightly better matchup now than it used to be, with the bug bites doing 2 damage instead of 1. However, this Annihilate is already boosted, and it still has like a good amount of health left. So those counters and that Rage Fist already have the Araquanid into their yellow health range.
Yeah, Annihilate gaining its value, but Ice Cream at the same time it does not have an answer for this Araquanid. But Araquanid does not even have a Water Pulse, so Annihilate can just take that Bubble Beam, and Ice Cream just switched out to not use the debuff Pokemon, even though his attack was up.
Yeah, good recognition by Ice Chris, seeing that the Araquanid is now probably in crunch range. So Sophtoph is going to debuff it in hopes of surviving a crunch. But I think all this Poison Sting damage has probably got it into crunch range at this point.
Yeah, and we can see how strong Drapion is. Gets almost 90 energy and takes down this Drapion and has energy for the next Pokemon, which is another Drapion, a Drapion Mirror. And it's going to be very hard to take out this Drapion, actually.
Yeah, because if you look in the back for Ice Chris, there is that Shadow Quagsire that has these super effective mud shots into the Shadow Drapion. And if the Drapion wants to no-shield all of these debuffed Aqua Tails, which it then shields up this one, it just gets closer and closer into farm down range for that Quagsire.
Yeah, exactly. And Drapion has thrown 3 charge moves, and it's finally gonna be able to take down. But Ice Chris still does have 2 Pokemon, maybe a Sack Swap in the back, and the Quagsire, which is an answer to Drapion, kind of.
Oh, even so,
and decides to use the energy.
On.
Yeah.
There was Sophtoph counting. Does she know? Yeah, she knows this is just a Rage Fist. But did she CMP with the Aqua Tail there? No, she didn't. She actually waited. So she still has all of her energy and can start firing it off into the Quagsire.
Yeah, that was actually very valuable damage, because now Quagsire can just go for the far down, shields a crunch, hopefully no debuff for Ice Chris, and does not get debuffed. Drapion is going to reach the Aqua Tail. We'll see if Lapras can get to a charge move, which is going to be game defining.
Yeah, I don't remember how much energy is left on the Lapras, but it's actually so close to a Sparkling Aria, it's probably going to get it. So I think it comes down to whether this Quagsire can take the move from the Lapras.
Yeah, Lapras is very strong, very tanky, and it's going to throw this Aria against the Quagsire. If the Quagsire survives this, it's going to be Sidewave down. So I think this is going to be game over for Sophtoph. Oh, but it's very close. Oh, he gets to the Aqua Tail.
Wow, that was really, really close. I fully expected that to KO, but the Quagsire just hangs on, just gets to the Aqua Tail, and it looks like it will be able to sweep this game and give the lead to Ice Chris.
Wow, I was not expecting as well that Aria. I thought that Aria was gonna take out the Quagsire, but the Quagsire hang on and got to another Aqua Tail. It was a crazy end game. 1 HP, 2 Pokemon, right?
Yeah, on both of them. I wonder if the Sparkling Aria had taken out the Quagsire, would the Annihilate have gotten the countdown? But I think it might have been just too low to finish off the Lapras at that range. So getting to that Aqua Tail, really important for Ice Chris to secure that win.
Yeah, a crazy end game. A lot of dance rounds, especially from Soph, swapping out to the Araquanid, the Lapras. A lot of flexible picks right here, which is this matchup in itself. It looks very flexible.
Yeah, so what do you expect from Sophtoph game 2 then to adjust to that, maybe to the Annihilate that was doing really well?
Yeah, Annihilate it looks pretty decent against this team. I guess there's some hard answers like the Dene and Dusclops, but she decided to not bring them. So maybe she's forced actually to bring some of those Pokemon right here. Dusclops is not that bad here. The Drapion matchup is not the worst, and have Ice Punch for the Moltres, which is also tough to bring against the Dene Drapion team. So maybe Dusclops gets a bit of play in the next game.
Well,
Do you think Ice Chris brings? Okay. Just go right away.
Yes, so we have that Drapion lead into the Lapras. Oh, wait. Sorry, is there something?
I mean, I can hear Weedle at the moment, for the record.
It looks like we have tech issues.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Let's get into game number 2.
It was buggy. It was buggy.
Spoilers, we still have that Drapion into the Lapras lead. And with the lower debuff chance now, this is slightly better for the Lapras in the zeros, because there's no chance of getting KO'd by the 2 crunches if you have a high rank Lapras. So we'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, we see Sophtoph repeating the lineup, but Ice Chris adapting and leaving the Annihilate in the bench. Maybe expecting Sophtoph to adjust, but she does not adjust.
Yeah, because if you see that adjustment from Ice Chris, he's actually brought an ABA Dark team. Oh, but that's a nice catch by sophtoph onto that Drapion. The crunch is going to be resisted. Just has to hope for no debuff. But the Shadow Quagsire in the back is going to be met on this. And this might even be good for Ice Chris, as if you look in the back, there's a Moltres, and it avoids this Drapion.
Yeah, that's a nasty catch, and even gets the Poison Sting in there, and is able to get to the crunch here. Does a lot of damage to the Quagsire, and is going to force energy. But the Drapion has taken damage, so a single Aqua Tail is going to be able to take down this Drapion.
Yeah, this Aqua Tail will KO, but sophtoph does keep 2 shields up, and maybe will get a big farm down on that Araquanid, only having to use 1 shield on this Stone Edge. But maybe the shield is what Ice Chris needs, as then he can land a fly from that Moltres onto this Araquanid in the end game.
Yeah, this energy is very valuable, but this Araquanid needs to take out a Moltres as well, and it has 2 shields. And I think you expect the Bubble Beam instantly, so I don't think you shield the first one. Will the Bug Bites be enough to take it out after the Bubble Beam?
Yeah, we'll have to see, because Sucker Punch does do a lot of damage, and Ice Chris has the option of resetting any debuffs that are placed onto his Moltres, as he does have a tiny bit of Drapion left in the back. So we'll have to see when Ice Chris will decide to swap out into the Drapion. Is letting go another Bubble Beam. This Moltres is getting
Ice Chris is doing the no shield challenge. He doesn't really want to shield, and swaps out now to take out the debuff, but gives a lot of energy to the Araquanid. And gets off the fly. We'll see if he can reach another charge move and take out the 2 remaining Pokemon right here.
Yeah, the problem is not only the Araquanid, but that Lapras as well. I think the Moltres is just too low, and he hasn't used a single shield this whole game still.
1 HP gets off the fly, but he's not at the second fly right now. He needs to survive 2 or 3 Bug Bites. I don't think the Moltres will be able to, and gets taken down by the Araquanid. He did the no-shield challenge, and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, that was very well played by sophtoph. I did not expect the Araquanid to fully sweep the Moltres like that, but those Bug Bites just did so much damage, and the Moltres couldn't really take out the Araquanid because it got debuffed so many times by that Bubble Beam.
Yeah, Araquanid bringing a lot of value into this game, and also Lapras, kind of a threat in the back. Maybe confused Ice Chris a little bit about how much HP was remaining, how much energy. Maybe he saved the shields for the Lapras, expecting it to have more energy. So that was like very well played by sophtoph.
Yeah, maybe benching the Annihilate there was not the right decision, but we'll have to see. Does he bring back the Annihilate? What do you think, Marto?
Yeah, these are the mind games right away. He thought sophtoph was going to adapt, but she didn't. Will she adapt now? Is she not going to adapt? She's going to repeat like 3 times. This is like the kind of mind games that go into a tournament, and it's very hard to decipher. There's no wrong options here. You just have to have faith.
Yeah, and we'll have to see then what these trainers have decided to do as we head into game 3.
Okay, Araquanid against the Cradily. This is doing super effective bug bite damage. It's pretty neutral. I think Cradily can take the 0 shield, but it's not on Water Pulse. It's on Bug Buzz, so maybe Araquanid actually takes this one.
Yeah, the Bug Buzz here is a nice option instead of the usual Water Pulse, and the Bug Bites have done so much. This must be in Bug Buzz range now, so we'll have to see whether Ice Chris wants to shield this and take switch, or just let it go and get an energy advantage on something in the back.
Yeah, we see that the Bug Buzz was worth it to have that charge move right here, and gets a shield off the Cradily and can actually secure shield advantage, switch advantage, but I think she's gonna be okay with just shield advantage and maybe getting some energy with the Lapras or Drapion.
Yeah, we'll have to see what she decides to do, because this alignment does look slightly in favor of Ice Chris, as he can put that Shadow Quagsire onto the Shadow Drapion on the ground on the Poison type, and the Dark type Drapion against the Lapras in the back, but actually just gives up the switch that he fought for.
Yeah, that was very smart, because the Drapion was debuffed, and it doesn't want to do lower damage than it should, right? So it also forces sophtoph to switch out, and the Quagsire is going to be aligned once again to the Drapion, but this time is not going to be nerfed and has a lot of remaining energy. can these Lapras actually take out this Drapion before it gets taken down?
Yeah, we'll have to see where Ice Chris uses his last shield, because that Drapion on sophtoph's side still does have some energy on it. So Ice Chris will have to cleverly manage his last shield. Where does he use it? Does he use it in this matchup? Does he use it against the Drapion? But this Lapras is still so healthy.
Yeah, and sophtoph decides to use the last shield with to her Lapras, but a bit of misplay from sophtoph. Decides to overfarm, and the Drapion gets to a crunch. I think her win condition might actually be farming down that Drapion, but now her own Drapion will not be able to shield the Stone Edge from the Quagsire.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate play by sophtoph. Probably noticed just slightly too late that the Drapion was not going to get taken down. So the worst case scenario of CMP tying the Lapras happened. And now Ice Chris is free to Stone Edge this Drapion and take the set.
Yeah, and that's going to be a GG's. Very well played by both. Ice Chris put a lot of pressure with the debuff, with the switch out, getting an energy advantage on the Drapion, and making the opponent's Drapion not be able to throw like powerful charge moves, right? Because of the debuff. So that was very well played, very well danced around by Ice Chris.
Yeah, very
no
well
one
played by Ice Chris. Well. Yeah. We do. What was I going to say? Oh my god, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, the Lapras. I wonder how it would have played out if the Lapras had not CMP tied the Drapion and had kept its 50% health and thrown the Sparkling Aria earlier against the Quagsire.
Yeah, the Lapras could have thrown energy right there, but it was still rough, especially when she used the shield. And she didn't have shields left for the Drapion. The game was pretty much probably over at that point. It was a rough shield call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have
sophtoph. Yeah.
Sorry. We do have sophtoph advancing into the winners finals, I guess, the kind of the grand finals that we will be seeing at the the score's on the wrong side. We will have Ice Chris, going into the winners finals at the end. But I think we will have a look at the next battle soon.
Yeah, let's take a look.
And here we have it. We see our bracket filled out. We just saw sophtoph versus Ice Chris. They're very close matches. I gotta say, sophtoph put up a good fight. But at this point, I believe it's Rocha versus Ice Chris in the finals, which should mean that a Latin America battler, once again, will win the Clash of the Casters. We also see our third battle there, Stumpy versus Tomahawk. Then our fourth battle, Steps versus Soph. The fifth battle, Speediest versus Trotter. And then finally, our sixth battle is going to decide the winner of this tournament. It's going to be Rocha versus Ice Chris. And we'll be able to see not only who wins this tournament, but who comes in second based on the third, fourth, and fifth matches. So at this point, I think it's going to be good to get into that third match where I'll be joined by, who am I going to be joined with? I think Marto in that next match here.
Okay, let's do it. Oh, no. Whoops.
Or Weedle. Hello.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint you, but I guess it will be me for this set as we take a look at TomahawkUK against Stumpy. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
Now, we saw Tomahawk, I believe, last week running Poison Jab Komodo, a Pokemon that I was kind of wondering if he was running that moveset as a better play into the Fairy-type Pokemon. And it seems like it might actually have a little bit of play here. It's actually going to be able to resist all of the energy from that Shadow Drapion. It likely, I don't remember the charge moves. I think it's double Dragon charge moves, so you don't actually have that super effective coverage against Diggersby. But Poison Jab is actually pretty good into that Jump Up as well. And Shadow Gator probably doesn't want to take the Poison Jabs and the Dragon Claws either.
Yeah, although it does have that super effective Poison Jab into the Jump Luff, you probably do not want to be taking those double super effective Fairy Winds, and definitely not any of those charge moves. So we'll have to see whether Stumpy does want to bring the Jump Luff as a Como O counter, because yeah, as you said, it does not look that bad. I believe it might even be Brick Break. Is it Brick Break on the Como O? I guess we might have to find out a bit later if Tomahawk does decide to bring it in this matchup.
Yeah, that's a good question, because if you do have that fighting type coverage, you're slightly better into that Pangoro, slightly better as well into the Fortress and Diggersby actually having better moves to hit them against. But either way, we also see that that's not the only spicy Pokemon. Komodo is not the only interesting pick. There's a Pangoro. I don't think we've seen too many Pangoros in general in recent history. We actually do see that it is a Brick Break on this Komodo, which is a very interesting call to have. A bit more fast move pressure if you can land that move. A little less charge move pressure. You're a little bit longer to reaching those first charge moves. But I know Tomahawk knows his Pokemon. He can probably make that Pokemon work here. And I'm just really interested to see where these spicy Pokemon might end up landing.
Yeah, we will have to see as we head into game 1 eventually. And we do have the Fortress lead into the Lapras, and TomahawkUK is instantly going to stop out, as that is not a nice place for the Lapras to be.
Yeah, a bit of a core breaker for Tomahawk's team. I know that Shadow Caesar is able to put in some work here, but Bug Bite's doing 3 damage per turn, rip through the HP of this very squishy Steel and Bug-type Pokemon. And not only that, you have debuffs. We see the Rock Tomb being thrown to lower the attack of one of the most scary Pokemon in this meta.
Yeah, the Scizor is going to already use its first shield, and Stumpy can now freely swap into the Feraligatr, as it will not outpace the Feraligatr with these Trailblazers. So at worst, Stumpy is just going to have to give up a shield, but will fully farm down this Scizor and come out with so much energy and still so much HP as well.
While you will have this energy, Tomahawk does have the one Pokemon on his team that you can actually tank this with the Lapras. But I mean, I say you can take the energy here. With that said, after 2 Hydro Cannons, you're going to be in the yellow. The Shadow Claws are going to add up too. You're going to be forced to throw all of your energy as this Lapras and then rely on the Annihilate, which we see a Jumpluff in the back line. This is going to be very tricky for Tomahawk to overcome.
Yeah, this is a really bad position for Tomahawk. Not only is the Jumpluff there, but still like 50% health left on that Fortress. So this Lapras is going to have to already use its energy. So no energy on the Lapras, no health on the Lapras, and Annihilate against the Jumpluff in the back. This is not a good position if you are on the side of TomahawkUK.
Great counting by Tomahawk, getting as much energy as he can here. I mean, at this point, that Fortress is close to Sparkling Aria range. Interesting play, though. We see the Jumpluff come in. Does this give Tomahawk any chance? I'm not sure, because you can go for 2 Aerial Aces here if you're on Stumpy's side before 2 Ice Beams. Maybe even get that Fairy Wind down. You do properly shield up the Ice Beam, and in comes the Annihilate. I don't know what's happening anymore. You might survive an Aerial Ace, but an Acrobatics being thrown to guarantee either a KO or a shield.
Yeah, we'll have to see what TomahawkUK decides to do. Decides to try and call. Oh no, he does use the shield. Oh my god, it didn't look like he used the shield. And Stumpy is going to go maybe for that Ice Punch attempt. But I think TomahawkUK can now boost his attack, and maybe the boosted Ice Punch will KO.
Yeah, there's a chance, actually, that the Ice Punch might not have knocked out the Jumpluff, but at +1 attack here, I think it's all but a guarantee this Ice Punch is going to knock out this Jumpluff. Tomahawk out of nowhere. Looks like he might be taking the win this game. Ice Punch coming through. Down goes the Jumpluff. How did that even just happen? I don't even know what I just saw.
Me neither, to be honest. I have no idea. Wow. Just, yeah. I want to also mention that shield on the Annihilate. I didn't even see it coming through. I didn't think TomahawkUK was shielding that. I mean,
neither did I. Yeah. And I mean, with that shield, that was the one way he had to win the game. If he got baited there, that Acrobatics would have one-shot him. I was very interested to see the play of coming in with the Jumpluff into the Lapras. I almost wonder if Stumpy should have still just come in with that Fortress and then used the Jumpluff with that shield in the backline against the Annihilate. But by giving Tomahawk just that little bit of wiggle room, he was able to come out of basically the worst possible scenario I could have seen him in and make it look like it was a game in his favor the whole time.
Yeah, maybe Stumpy expected something slightly different from Tomahawk in the back. Like maybe if it was that Runeriga, Stumpy was just trying to get that energy lead, right? To make sure that Tomahawk doesn't reach the Rock Tomb before the first Acrobatics. Maybe expecting Tomahawk to insta-swap, but Tomahawk just patient staying in, and then as soon as he sees the Jumpluff come in, he gets that shield advantage that he wants for his Annihilate.
I'll be honest. If he was thinking it was the Rune in the backline, I don't know how you could bring Rune to this team here. There's a Pangoro, there's a Diggersby, there's a Shadow Gator, there's a Jumpluff, which I guess is probably pretty neutral, but Shadow Drapion as well is super awkward. I guess you're bringing it to counter that Fortress of all things. But either way here, Tomahawk did win game number 1. We'll see what these trainers do heading into game number 2. And here it is, Moltres into Fortress.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup because the Fortress does have that super effective Rock Tomb with the attack debuff, but the Fly on the side of the Moltres does slightly outpace those Rock Tombs.
If you want to be a little bit crazy here, you can go for Sand Tomb Bait and try to get a shield with that. No, actually, we're going to just play out the Zero Shield matchup. Go for the Survive on that Fly. Rock Tomb should get a KO for this range or a shield, depending on what Tomahawk wants to do.
Yeah, Tomahawk is going to shield it up and keep this Moltres nice and healthy, as Stumpy just swaps straight into his Feraligatr as he has now grabbed a shield advantage, but will just lose it immediately right here, probably.
Yeah, this energy, once again, not going to go too far, saying there's a Lapras in the backline for Tomahawk. We do see it brought in right now, and I see an interesting thing that might happen in the endgame. There is that Komodo in the backline that has Poison Jab for the Jumpluff, but Jumpluff has a lot of super effective fast food pressure against both that Moltres and that Komodo. This could be a very interesting endgame.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens here, because this Lapras is still quite healthy, and it might actually get the last shield against the Jumpluff with an Ice Beam potentially, which may open up an opportunity for a Clanging Scales to land on that Jumpluff.
I haven't seen that move too much since the Community Day release, so I would love to see that land here. In comes the Sparkling Aria. This should knock out the Feraligatr despite being resisted. It's not a very bulky Pokemon. You could come in Fortress, potentially drain the energy here. This time we do actually see the Fortress come back into the Lapras. I think this is in Fairy Wind downrange now. Is the Jumpluff able to get the endgame sweep?
Yeah, we'll have to see. TomahawkUK just instantly swaps into this Komodo, may just potentially go for as many debuffs as he can, as Stumpy immediately fires off an Aerial Ace rather than the Acrobatics. So we'll have to see whether TomahawkUK decides to shield this.
The super effective move comes through, but it does not quite knock out. And interesting play by Tomahawk, not going for the big move. It is called. That is insane. He had the big move, but the Brick Break bait being thrown instead, getting the debuff. At this point, though, you would have preferred the one-shot.
Yeah, TomahawkUK maybe just panicked and didn't realize he was getting to the strong move, or just expected a shield and wanted to go for a debuff. However, now this Jumpluff might be able to outpace to double Aerial Ace, and TomahawkUK might need a catch to win this game.
Yeah, the catch opportunity did just come back up. Lapras is still in the back line. Do we see it here? No, the instant throw Tomahawk, expecting not to see the Aerial Ace thrown on alignment here, not when it was instantly reached. Ace knocks out the Moltres. Can you ever Psywave down this Pokemon? You're at -1 defense. Psywaves are adding up, but Aerial Ace might just be reached, and we see in game number 2, it was kind of the reverse here, where Tomahawk did have a way to win this game, but Stumpy out of nowhere, able to use his Shadow Jumpluff to sweep.
Yeah, well played there by Stumpy, sweeping a full Komodo and a half-health Moltres with that Shadow Jumpluff out of nowhere, as you said already. A slight misplay on Tomahawk's side, and he probably knows it himself. So we'll have to see whether he adjusts for that last game or just decides to play the end game out a bit more clean than he did this game.
Yeah, it was a super neutral game through and through. We saw that Fortress into Moltres lead, which, I mean, that's about as neutral as you get. A lot of fast food pressure on both sides, not a lot of charge move spam. Both moves from the Fortress and that Moltres there can chip down the opposing Pokemon. So that lead matchup, setting up Stumpy with the shield advantage, was pretty important for him. That Shadow Gator, once again, though, lining up into the Lapras was kind of unfortunate. I feel like if Stumpy can ever get that Gator in a spot that's not throwing resisted Hydro Cannons, it could put in a lot more work. And potentially Tomahawk, I know he likes his Komodo here. Maybe it needs to be benched, saying that at this point, it is going to be either aligned into potentially that Fortress or that Jumpluff that keep on getting brought.
Yeah, the Komodo, maybe not the best pick here, unless he is trying so hard to align it into that Feraligatr, which is slightly better, despite the Feraligatr having the super effective Ice Beam. So we'll have to see how TomahawkUK adjusts for this final battle, game number 3, and he does bring the Runerigas, and it's led into that Jumpluff.
I guess one of the best matchups that you can really see here, since it's not only the Jumpluff in the lead, but that Fortress in the backline. So you're forcing your opponent to stay in, take a Rock Tomb debuff, and this is super effective damage. This might put the Jumpluff deep into the yellow, maybe even into the red.
Yeah, this Rock Tomb does a lot of damage, as it is the Shadow Jumpluff, and it is just immediately firing off that Acrobatics. We'll have to see whether TomahawkUK shields this to keep the Runerigas a lot more healthy.
We see the shield once again, the Gators safe swap. I bet we're going to see a very similar play where we're probably going to do either a chip and dip or maybe just a catch attempt here. Shadow Gator up a shield, up energy, can flip the slappers, but for a third game in a row, this Gator is stuck throwing resisted Hydro Cannons into one of the bulkiest water-type Pokemon in this meta.
Yeah, the Gator cannot escape the Lapras, and this is really not a very good matchup for it, as it does lose even the 0-1 shields against the Lapras, I believe. So these Hydro Cannons not doing much, and the Feraligatr is already into Sparkling area range after all of these Psy Waves.
Super precise gameplay by Tomahawk, throwing right before the next Hydro Cannon here. This will knock out the Feraligatr if it goes through. We actually see a shield invested this time, which should be able to allow you to get this Hydro Cannon off. But there is still going to be, I believe, a Moltres in the background that might come in, might get a huge farm down here, and you have nowhere to take flying type damage with a Fortress and a jump buff in the back.
Yeah, not only might this Moltres get a lot of energy, but that Runerigus still has a lot of energy on it as well and can debuff anything that decides to come in. Stumpy just immediately brings in the Fortress, so TomahawkUK might look to just throw a move here and then swap out into the Runerigus to get the attack drop that Stumpy cannot reset immediately.
The no shield on the Brave Bird, probably about all the use this Fortress is going to get out, saying that you don't even have Earthquake for that rune later on in this game. You're at -1 defense, or -3 defense rather, on this Moltres, which means it's going to take a lot of damage if it stays in, but the instant swap out to this rune, at this point, I think Tomahawk has this so much energy on this ghost-type Pokemon here. Brutal Swing going to be thrown. Might not be enough to knock out. It might just be, though, at this point.
Yeah, this Runerigus is doing so much work with TomahawkUK. Stumpy, as you said previously, probably did not expect it to be brought, but now it is being brought. He is not ready for it, and it might just be able to farm up to the back-to-back Brutal Swing and then win this game for him.
I'm going to be honest, I did not have any faith in this Pokemon before I saw what Tomahawk can make it do. Brutal Swing knocks out the Jump Bluff. At this point, a Brutal Swing is going to knock out the Shadow Gator as well. I don't know what I'm seeing. This Pokemon might actually be kind of meta. It's pretty spammy. It has Rock Tomb. Shadow Claw is insane as well, and it just swept the backline here, knocking out the Feraligatr as well as the Jump Bluff, two Pokemon that, at least type effectiveness-wise, you would think would be able to have a lot of play into it.
Yeah, very well played there by TomahawkUK with that Runerigus. We'll have to see how Runerigus does actually in Worlds later. It might be something that after you seeing this play by TomahawkUK that you might look into using yourself. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I won't be using it. I don't think it's good. But TomahawkUK can disagree with me. So yeah, we'll have to see how the next matches play out as TomahawkUK does not finish second place regardless of this match.
Yeah, so at this point, Tomahawk has ended up going 4-1, I believe, in this tournament, which is a very respectable record here. Steve actually telling us that Tomahawk needs to hope that no one else goes 3-0 for the second place matches to secure second, which means there is a chance that Tomahawk could, in theory, get second place here. He just needs to make sure that, well, as long as no other players in this tournament go 3-0 in their next match, there is a chance that he could get that second place title. And he might be able to make it so this very spicy team that we see here might honestly impact the meta going into that World Championships, as we were saying. I don't know if I myself would be risky enough to use a Runerigus like this, but maybe after seeing this, I should give it a go.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see, right? Or if you want to tell me what you're going to use earlier, then I'll be happy to hear as well. But I think I will be heading off for this next match, and we will have Marto coming in instead as we take a look at Steps versus sophtoph.
Welcome back, Marto. Excited to see another sophtoph battle. I saw that first one was about as close as can be. So the second one, I'm hoping, will also put on a show.
Yeah, this is the battle of the S's. Who has the most powerful S nickname? Steps or sophtoph?
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky thing for me to root for here. There's a Rockmanid on one side, Blastoise on the other. Which one of these trainers is going to have the team that comes out on top? Blastoise was one of my favorite picks here in the last season. A Rockmanid, I would imagine, doesn't have a great time into the rollout user, especially with Skull Bash. That is such a hard-hitting move.
You're telling me you're an Araquanid fan right now?
Well, it did win me NAIC. I kind of have to have some loyalty to it.
Okay, just a Aragonid believer. Okay, I see it. Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty good matchup. We have a lot of time against NA. I'm not gonna be biased at all, of course. I hope
Oh,
the
of
best
course not.
battler
No.
wins.
We
Yeah,
see a
we'll see.
Tinkaton as well, a Pokemon we don't see too often.
Yeah, Tinkaton is probably the least expected Pokemon right here. Quagsire, again, taking the field. We see a lot of Quagsires, very flexible Pokemon, right? Mudboys are almost always good. But then there's some Araquanid running right there, which is kind of an uncomfortable matchup. We'll see how it turns out, but it's not looking bad in this matchup.
I'm going to be interested to see exactly what sophtoph wants to bring, because she does have access to Bug Buzz on this Araquanid, which does give you a bit more play into a Pokemon like that Blastoise. But there is that Tinkaton that very much resists your Bug-type damage. Without Water Pulse, you don't even have a Nuke move to throw. It's just going to be Bubble Beams that you're throwing there. Tinkaton, I know from experience, is pretty safe into Sophtoph's team. I'm expecting to see it basically every game. So Sophtoph needs to probably bring that Diggersby as well to counteract it. But can you really bring a Diggersby in a team with 2 water types, with a Dusclops and a Cradilly? That is where things are going to get very tricky.
Yeah, I think Diggersby can still be very powerful here because every single matchup it can still do damage, even against Cradilly. It's not the best matchup, but you can still do neutral damage there. Blastoise, you cannot get rollout down, so we might see the Diggersby for the Tinkaton right here, and also the Dusclops against the Araquanid might be very fine with the Bug Buzz right there. So Bug Buzz getting some matchups but losing other. We'll see if it's valuable in this matchup.
First game, there's the
Okay.
Blastoise led into a Shadow Drapion. It will get slightly outpaced here, but if you can avoid a Crunch debuff, then honestly the Zero Shield matchup are not that bad for Blastoise.
Yeah, you probably know this matchup more than anyone. I would say Drapion probably takes the Zero Shield, but Blastoise can do a lot of damage with the Hydro Cannon.
If
And
you go for a
we
Skull
get a
Bash, you can
freeze.
potentially snipe down a ton of HP, but we see... I don't even know what's going on right now.
We see a simultaneous charge move.
That's a true CMP type, both charge attacks being thrown at the same time.
Yeah, that would be actually a real cool feature, like double charge move at the same time.
Get the simul KOs. Okay, we're trying again here. Blastoise once again into that Shadow Drapion. And I think that the best thing about this is Drapion is avoiding that Shadow Quagsire in the back.
Yeah, the Drapion might be one of the best matchups right here in the lead. You can get either shield or a switch advantage. Probably gonna take the shield and energy advantage. Oh, but we see a catch with the Lapras. What a catch! What a catch! Resisted Hydro Cannon.
Yeah, here comes the Hydro Cannon. Obviously, the rollouts are super effective, but Hydro not very effective here. And Drapion, even with that chip damage that we just saw, is not going to be able to one-shot you with this Crunch. This is looking pretty good for Sophtoph now. A lot of energy still on that Drapion. There is a Quagsire in the back that could be a little bit annoying for her. We don't know what's in the back for Sophtoph, but at this point, I'd say she's making the plays to put herself in a good spot in the end game.
Yeah, that was a very good catch, but that Hydro Cannon puts this Lapras in maybe Aqua Tail damage plus farm down. So we'll see the Lapras do an area here, and the Drapion comfortably taking the area.
Instantly throwing the Aqua Tail, almost no energy remaining on this Shadow Drapion. Might set up a pretty nice farm down for something in the backline. We do see the instant swap back into the Shadow Drapion. I think you have to throw a move, yeah, before you can get a farm down. But if a shield does come up here, which I would be a little bit surprised about, you might get a full Poison Sting down. Down goes the Shadow Drapion on step side. There is still energy here on this Drapion, though. Even if this Quagsire comes in, it's not that comfortable.
Yeah, Drapion just going a bit crazy right here. Throwing too many charge moves, and it's gonna be very difficult to take it down. Even with the mod shots, there's not that much fast move pressure right here. And gets another shield with an Aqua Tail.
What a play from Sophtoph. I wish I could see what was in the backline right now. Either it's a little bit soft here to Quagsire, maybe it is that Diggersby that we were thinking would potentially be brought by Sophtoph. Now there is nothing. We don't see anything whatsoever. This is
it's just a tie. Just a tie, chat. Don't worry.
So yeah, I guess we didn't see a Tinkaton there in that first game. I'm hoping we can get it back here in just a second, but Tinkaton not being brought on step side, part of the reason why that Shadow Drapion could have so much play. Steve says that Steph's footage just stops there. Maybe we can start getting Sophtoph side back. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Interesting
Yeah, because
stuff.
we got the wrong side. We need the other side. Yeah, don't worry, chat. We'll fix it. We are definitely fixing it. Okay, we go again.
This,
Wait, is this
hold on. That might be game 2.
Or maybe game 3.
There's a chance game 3. There's a chance we don't actually get to see the conclusion here to game number 1. Marto, if you had to guess, how do you think that game was going? Do you think that Sophtoph or that Steps was in a better position?
Yeah, it's very tough.
We just have to have conjecture at this point. We won't know for sure.
I'm just so tempted. I need a second, man. Just give me a second.
All right. So yeah, we saw that match play out. It looks like there's unfortunately some technical issues with that first game. Both players didn't have complete recordings. Is this may I ask production, was that a game 1 win for either player, or was that just going to be a rematch? I'm not sure exactly. I feel like Sophtoph was probably going to be in a better spot there going into that end game. But obviously we don't know. The Go Battle League is a funny thing. A lot of things can happen there, as we've seen through this tournament. So,
yes, a lot of funny things.
Yeah, we're still figuring out who is the score. Okay, so Steve's just saying right now, let's get into the next game. Potentially the scores are still 0-0. We saw we saw a bit of a preview of what this matchup could look like. So let's get into the next game and see what these trainers are gonna do. Hopefully with a full battle this time.
This is game 2 then.
Game 2 or game 1, I don't know. At this point, it's 0-0 on the graphic, so that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, so we see the Blastoise winning the lead there and forcing Sophtoph actually to insta-swap to the Drapion. Very, very good safe swap, but instantly gets matched against the Quagsire.
Now, this matchup, while it is negative on paper for the Shadow Drapion, if you make the right calls, you can actually flip this, or at the very least get some sort of advantage. We see a shield on the Aqua Tail. Now, if you no-shield this attack, then you can win the 0-shield scenario. If you shield the Stone Edge as well, you can win the 1s and 2s. Unfortunately, Sophtoph does shield the bait, but it doesn't matter because you have an Aqua Tail of your own. Maybe all you need to do at this point is chip down the Lapras into a range where you can farm down with a Pokemon in the backline.
Exactly. So shielding this makes the Quagsire to reach an Aqua Tail. So Steps, if he wants, he can just take switch advantage, and he's gonna actually take it. Will this take out? It's one more fast move, but the Drapion is not a charge move, so it's forced to swap out. And we see a response
and in
with
comes
Blastoise.
the Lapras. This is an interesting matchup because while you don't have Skull Bash here on the Lapras, you have a lot more play than you might expect, mainly because Psywave, even after a single defense boost, still does the same exact amount of damage. Blastoise is already down to half HP. You don't get one shot by a move here either. You can no-shield this if you want, and potentially still keep your shield in the backline.
Yeah, Lapras showing how strong it is, then can comfortably take this Skull Bash and get it to an area before the Blastoise gets to the Hydro Cannon. So a lot of value coming from this Lapras, even though it's technically in a bad matchup.
Sparkling not going to knock out, especially after that defense increase, but because it does put it so low into the red, you do still have to throw energy to knock this Pokemon out. Hydro Cannon might not barely be enough. It's going to be close. Lapras is pretty bulky. Hydro, though, is a very good move. Lapras does just barely go down, and Dusclops is going to try its best here in the backline to sweep this game. You see that Cradilly, which is a good matchup for Dusclops, but in comes a Hydro Cannon, which is going to do quite a bit of chip to this Pokemon.
Yeah, Blastoise carrying the team right here. Sophtoph is not able to get the sack swap, and there's going to actually be a Cradilly against the Dusclops, but the Dusclops has taken a Hydro Cannon, and that's going to be very important for this endgame. And actually decides to shield the first Ice Punch. Very important shield.
You can clear a debuff if you need to with your Shadow Drapion in the backline. I'm not sure if you still have a move left over on it, but the problem is Dusclops not only has to knock out this Cradilly, but there is also a Quagsire as well as a Blastoise in the backline. Quagsire is healthy enough that it might reach an Aqua Tail, and Blastoise, there could be a very nice catch opportunity for Steps. So no matter what happens right now, Sophtoph is in a bit of a tricky position.
Yeah, this is what happens in the end game with Rock Tomb users. It starts to get uncomfortable. You get debuffed. You have to switch out. And because the Dusclops has the attack lowered, this Ice Punch is not even going to be close to taking out this Cradilly. And the Cradilly can just get to the Rock Tomb.
Oh, she had the move, but Steps. calling it, going for the overfarm instead. That is ridiculous. I love to see it, though. The patience on Step's side, letting you get this the Rock Tomb off. Potentially, Grass Knot would have got the knockout here, but it doesn't matter when you still have 3 Pokemon remaining. Step's able to take what I guess we are going to call game number 1 here in this series.
Yeah, 3-ball flex, a lot of patience, as you say, from Steps. Very well played in the end game. A lot of possibilities right there, and he did what he needed to do. So yeah, he's gonna take game number 1, of course.
Yeah, at this point, we saw a bit of an awkward team comp there for sophtoph. Dusclops in the backline had a bit more wiggle room than the rest of her team. We saw the Blastoise there into the Lapras. We saw, I believe, that Shadow Drapion as well into the Shadow Quagsire, a matchup that we keep on seeing sophtoph try to run into. And while that matchup does have some play, it's not where you want it to be. Shadow Drapion is a very flexible Pokemon. It should be able to have a lot of play against Steps' team, but not when you're fighting that ground type that can just kind of farm you down the longer that goes.
Yeah, and sophtoph actually had like a good game plan. She baited out the Drapions, so she left the Dusclops to sweep, but it just took too much damage. The Blastoise had a lot of value in that game, getting too fast to the charge move with the rollout, too oppressive.
Yeah, it was a
And
good
also
game
no
plan, but
Tinkaton.
unfortunately, just a little bit too much of a negative team comp there for sophtoph. Game number 2 should be starting here soon. Let's see what adjustments are going to be made.
And no Tinkaton once again, but we see a Drapion against the Dusclops. This is really bad in the lead, and it's forced to swap to the Lapras and instantly answered by the Blastoise. But as we saw before, this is not the worst matchup.
Yeah, Soph actually doesn't have a hard answer to Shadow Drapion this game, so even flipping switch advantage might not be the most important thing for her. With that said, as you were saying, these Psywaves as well as the Sparkling Arias do chip down this Blastoise quite a bit despite taking super effective rollout damage. You do still have some play in this matchup.
Yeah, Steps was actually pretty fast with the switch there, so this Blastoise is gonna up its defense before the second Sparkling area, and it's probably will be able to take this match in all even shields.
It looks like, though, what's going to happen is while you will win switches the Blastoise, you have to throw all your energy to do so. And by doing that, you might set up a bit of a farm down here for sophtoph with either the Shadow Drapion or the Dusclops. But after the defense increase, I bet this Blastoise still gets to yet another Hydro Cannon after this.
Yeah, this is very smart by sophtoph with this farm down. Oh, actually, it's gonna take the energy with the Drapion, and that's gonna make the Blastoise get to a Hydro Cannon before the Drapion gets to an Aqua Tail and actually beats it to a charge move.
This is going to be a very tricky endgame for sophtoph, but the thing is, Dusclops does not get one-shot by a Crunch. There's a Cradily in the backline as well, so your Shadow Drapion does have quite a bit of play. You can clear debuffs if you need to, you can do a lot of damage, maybe strip shields with your Shadow Drapion. So Dusclops, while it's not going to be in a great matchup in the backline, might still be able to put in at least some work against the opposing Shadow Drapion.
Yeah, but you think this is a good matchup for the Drapion, but actually Cradily can hold its own, just take a Crunch and start debuffing. And the Drapion is still gonna be against the Dusclops, so this is looking very rough for sophtoph. She's gonna be in to do a lot of things right here.
Yeah, this matchup is actually kind of sad for the Poison-type Pokemon, saying that you are going to end up getting farmed down the longer that goes. A catch on the Shadow Drapion as well. It is a good play, but maybe sophtoph can use this to her advantage. I'm not sure how. No debuff just yet, but you might be able to go for enough Aqua Tails here to put them into Ice Punch range. Maybe you can get both shields down from the Shadow Drapion. And if this Shadow Drapion uses both shields and Soph doesn't have to use any, potentially that Dusclops can put in some work still.
Yeah, the catch looked very good because you didn't have to shield, but then you had to shield an Aqua Tail, so was it even worth it? And this Aqua Tail is not gonna take down the Drapion, and the Drapion is gonna actually get to another Aqua Tail, forcing the last shield from the Drapion and putting some pressure here on Steps.
I was not expecting the debuffed Aqua Tail to get a shield here, if I'm being honest. I think there is a chance for sophtoph. I don't remember exactly how much energy is on that Cradily, but you survive one Crunch. You don't want to shield the first because a debuff can happen, which would do a lot more damage to you. So you no shield, you overfarm, and if you can ever Ice Punch this Pokemon and Ice Punch that Cradily to win this game, that is the one little bit of wiggle room that you have here right now.
I think if this Drapion can take the Ice Punch, he will get to the Crunch, and actually takes the Ice Punch. He's gonna use the Crunch, and I think the Cradily has a charge move banked in the back, so this might be lights out for sophtoph in the tournament.
Yeah, at this point, if there is energy on Cradily, you have to hope for an Aqua Tail bait, but Cradily in the back with that move loaded is going to make it so sophtoph, unfortunately, will end up taking the loss here in game what looks like number 3. I believe game number 1 was a win for sophtoph thanks to this graphic here now. So while we didn't see sophtoph's win, she did make a very good fight here and made it very close.
Yeah, we had a comeback from steps, but very well played by sophtoph. It was a rough ending. In that lead is almost it's very hard to come back, right? And she did her best, but we actually didn't see a Tinkaton, which was very surprising.
Yeah, no Tinkaton, no Diggersby, nothing that we were really expecting to see. I think both trainers at this point, at this stage in the tournament, were thinking they know that I know that they know what I need to bring. So I'm not going to bring that. I'm going to bring something else instead. And instead, we saw a lot of neutral play rather than RPS trying to align Diggersby onto Tinkaton, rather than seeing a lot of these maybe Dedenes into Blastoise kind of situations as well, which I do love to see. Steps, though, able to get fortunate alignment there in the second and third games. And because of that, is also going to be in the running, I believe, here for second place in this tournament.
Yeah, very well done. LATAM actually making a statement in this tournament. Hopefully they will do it at Worlds as well. Hopefully we'll see. But
yeah, they will if you have anything
strong
to say about it here.
No, I'll just O2, but that was very good. We see a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Drapion or 1, 2, 3, 4. Just Drapion.
Hey, there's gonna be a
everywhere.
new sword guy coming out too. Maybe that thing's gonna be pretty fun there too, if you ever figure out how
yes.
it works.
Yeah, tanks are very fun. I love tanks for sure.
With that said, we are gonna see our next matchup here. MEweedle gonna be rejoining us here for DrTrotter versus Speediest Chief. Let's see how that matchup goes.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Welcome in, Weedle again.
Hello. Happy to be back.
Yeah, so we got DrTrotter again.
Yes. He's got that double bug steel types, and he's up against Speediest Chief, who is not really much less spicy than that, as he is bringing that Galarian Weezing and Greninja. So looks like it's similar, if not the same, as Zizvilus EUIC team.
Exactly, yeah. If I recall correctly, it's actually the exact same team. I'm not sure about Cradily, but the rest, I'm 100% sure it's the same team. And proven to be very strong by Zizvilus, which likes to sometimes do ABA with this team, but we'll see if Speedy also does some ABA with this team, and if DrTrotter can realize that.
Yeah, what are your first thoughts on this matchup? That Fortress, in my opinion, is looking quite good on the side of DrTrotter with that bug bite damage against everything but the Weezing.
Yeah, Fortress looking very strong, which might force the Corsola actually, which I think it's unchecked. It's gonna have to be answered neutrally. So we probably will see the Corsola, the Fortress. I'm not sure about the Weezing charge moves, if it has overheat for the Fortress. But yeah, looking very strong. And the Gastron as well. If the Cradily is on acid, might be very strong against the whole team.
Yeah, of course, still has to watch out for a Trailblaze from that Sizzle, but I believe even in the one shield, that Mud Slap adds up so much. We do have confirmation it is an acid Cradily. So yeah, as you said, that Gastrodon is probably looking quite strong on the side of DrTrotter as well.
Yeah, Gastron might come into these games. It doesn't have a insane matchup maybe against Caesar, but you have to shield. And the Weezing, I'm not sure if Weezing will come here. It's looking good against the Dene, and I think that's it. So we probably won't see any Weezing right here. But yeah, we'll check out these battles. Okay, and there we see the Corsola in the lead.
We do have that Corsola, and it's up against the Cradily. And DrTrotter's Cradily is Bullet Seed, so it means that it has the neutral fast move and a slightly faster pacing up against this Corsola.
Yeah, probably makes this matchup a bit better for the Cradily. You would think a Rock Tomb user would win a neutral matchup, so we'll see if that's the case right here. But the Corsola can actually take 2 Rock Tombs, as we can see.
What I'm also looking forward to seeing is that backline from DrTrotter, as he has brought both Bug Steel types in the same game. So maybe wants to keep shields in the back for those Bug Steel types, as he does have this bulky Cradily lead to take all of this Corsola energy.
Yeah, a bit of a ballsy play. No respect for the Caesar in the lead, but he has double answers for the Speediest Cradily in the back. So that Cradily is gonna have a rough time in this match. We'll see if Speedy can get some value out of it.
Yeah, not only the Credilli, but that Lapras is also not great in the back. So that Fortress is probably looking to be so good for DrTrotter in the back, as he does go down a shield to get the switch lineup, but maybe just gives it up as he has two super good Credilli answers.
Yeah, and we can see Acid Credilli on the right, Bullet Seed Credilli on the left, and get into the fast moves faster. So it gets the Rock Tomb first, and I think he's just gonna try to sponge some energy from Credilli right here. So Credilli actually, I think, getting some value in this game.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that DrTrotter didn't swap out there, as he does have two super hard answers to that Credilli in the back. But either way, he does have this Sizzle aligned to the Credilli. Is going to let go of this Rock Tomb. This will do a lot of damage, but the Sizzle will not get fast moved down so easily.
Yeah, decides to let go, maybe expecting Greninja in the back, and that's why he didn't want to give a switch advantage. But now he sees the Lapras, and the Scissor can get a lot of value right here. We'll see if it can get to another charge move after this, but just the bullet punches in itself are just chunking in these Lapras.
Yeah, the bullet punches doing some damage, and DrTrotter is just going to settle for the Night Slash. This might be enough to get it into Bug Bite range for that Fortress. We'll have to see how much energy that Lapras does have. It's actually CMP tie. That's so unlucky for Speediest Chief, and I think DrTrotter's in a really good position.
Yeah, a bit of unfortunate time of events for Speediest Chief. Takes out the Scissor, but now the Fortress comes in, and the Lapras needs to do way too much to this Fortress, and maybe he won't be able to reach even 2 charge mobs. So DrTrotter looking like he's gonna take game 1.
Yeah, very well played by DrTrotter. I really like the play of both Bug Steel type Shadow Pokemon in the back, and it has paid off really well as he just Bug Bites down every single thing on Speediest Chief's team to take the win.
Yeah, Fortress just goes brr, you know. It was a lot of a good matchup for the Fortress right there. And DrTrotter didn't actually bring an answer to Shadow Scissor. I don't know how the Fortress matchup goes. Maybe probably Fortress takes that, but if there was a Scissor in the lead, it would have been a tricky scenario. So we'll see if Speediest Chiefs actually takes the Scissor to the second game, which is a bit scary, right? Because you have the Talonflame, which farms you down, and then the Gastrodon that just resists your fast mobs. So we'll see if Speedy takes a risk in the second game.
Yeah, I think Speedy did maybe expect that Gastrodon by bringing the Credilli and the Lapras in the course of the right. So like his 3 better answers into the Gastrodon, but DrTrotter had different ideas and didn't want to bring the Gastrodon. So I'll have to see whether he changes his opinion as well on the Gastrodon as we head into the next battle.
Yeah, and we see the Fortress once again. I think this matchup should be favorable for the Fortress due to the Bug Bite just shredding this Scissor, right? And is able to just take comfortably this Night Slash.
Yeah, I wonder how much different this matchup is for the Shadow Fortress versus the regular Fortress, as maybe the Bug Bites don't even get a break point from the Shadow compared to the regular. So the Night Slash has got this Fortress very low already as Speediest Chief gives up his first shield on the Sizzle.
Yeah, Speedy shields the first charge move, but decides to throw right away because of the debuff damage, he might not be able to get the Bullet Punch. So we'll see if DrTrotter just stays with the shield advantage. No, he really wants switch advantage. He might be scared of a Greninja in the back once again. And the Fortress is able to get to the Santum, but right the last second with 1 HP.
That is really important for DrTrotter. As we look in the back lines, there is a Credilli on Speediest side and a Sizzle on DrTrotter's side. So now gets that super positive alignment in the back.
Yeah, Speedy reveals its whole team, and this is gonna be a neutral matchup, but the matchup in the back is not gonna be very nice for the Credilli. So Corsola needs to do too much in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this Credilli is just going to keep spamming these Rock Tombs with the Bullet Seed, the better pacing, and the neutral fast move damage that it has. I'm not seeing this Corsola winning this game for Speedy.
Yeah, DrTrotter saving a shield for his Scissor, the big sweeper, and especially with that good of a matchup. So Credilli trying to go for the CIP, but not getting it actually. But this debuff in itself is what DrTrotter wants, and just keep in alignment.
Yeah, Speedy can't shield that because he knows that the Scissor will otherwise take it out with a Night Slash. Does make a nice catch onto his own Credilli, maybe is going to try to somehow throw 2 Nightshades against the Scissor later.
This is actually a huge catch. Gives less farms for the Scissor, but if the Scissor can actually get to 2 Nightshads, but the Cradily gets to Rocktomb first. I think Scissor can endure this. So DrTrotter might let it go or not, just shield it right away. And he still needs 2 charge moves for the Corsola. Corsola, I think, has 2 Nightshades and decides not to throw. Here comes the first Nightshade. Can this Corsola take down the Scissor and the Cradily?
I think it might be able to take down the Scissor, but I think the Cradily is just too healthy in the back. It would have to go down in like the next 3 or 4 Astonishes. Is it healthy enough?
Yeah, this is going to be a crazy endgame. The Cradily going for the bullets in damage. Can Corsola endure this? One more. No, but it's actually at 1 HP and takes the game.
Wow. I mean, that was so much closer than I ever would have expected, to be honest. I thought it was so over once we saw that Scissor into Cradily backline. But Speedy almost somehow fighting his way back in this matchup and almost taking the win, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, that was very well played, even if it was a rough matchup. But I'm not sure if Speedy is sad or happy losing that because he lost to a Fortress, his favorite Pokemon. So he might be proud of that. Yeah, really good game, really rough matchup. The double bug actually showing it's worth something in this meta. But what a crazy team by DrTrotter.
Yeah, I think the team building there from DrTrotter was really good. Just immediately from the start, put Speedy in such a rough position, right? With the double bug steal and that Gastrodon looking so strong for him. So well played by Speedy, but yeah, that's a bad matchup for him. And we do have confirmation that DrTrotter even got the 3-0 against Speedy and therefore secures 2nd place in the tournament. So congrats to him.
Wow. It was best of 5?
No, but I believe all games were played all 3 to determine the final ranking a bit nicer. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So we won't get that 3rd game then.
Nope. It's just gone.
Okay. So DrTrotter just secured 2nd place.
Yes, he did secure 2nd place, but we do not know yet who secured 1st place. And I believe that is the next match that we are about to head into.
Right now. Let's go.
All right, yeah, we just saw that 2nd place was secured by DrTrotter, which means I guess Ice Chris or Rocha Babyface not even fighting for 2nd. They'd be fighting for 3rd if they don't end up winning this match. We'll have to see who, though, can end up winning Clash of the Casters. Rocha, the reigning champion, Ice Chris, trying to take him down.
Yeah, we do have that Shadow Quagsire on the side of Ice Chris as probably the most standout pick. And on Rocha's side, we have that Shadow Sableye that we have not really seen from anybody else this tournament. Which do you think is better?
I'm going to be honest, Shadow Sableye, while it does have a couple of decent matchups here, it's not really going to hard target much besides the Annihilate, whereas that Shadow Quagsire, it looks pretty safe across the board here. So I would expect to see a lot of Shadow Quagsire, maybe a lot less of the Shadow Sableye here on Rocha's side.
Yeah, although that Shadow Quagsire is not the best into that Golisopod, which is actually looking not too bad on the side of Rocha, although the Fury Cutter does make the Annihilate matchup a bit annoying as you are doing double resisted damage there, and an Aqua Jet just won't be enough to take the one-shot.
Yeah, Annihilate looking a little RPS here. It's a Pokemon that can shut down kind of the trickier options, the Diggersby, the Golisopod, and the Cradily, but especially because I believe that's an Air/Mandibuzz, and then you have 2 Ghost types, the Dusclops and Shadow Sableye. It's going to make it a little tricky to actually use that Annihilate, which means Golisopod probably has free reign here against a lot of the team. Maybe a Azumarill, though, could have play, because Azumarill is able to beat, or at least have a lot of neutral play into everything but that Cradily. And I guess even in Cradily, you have Ice Beam to hit it back against.
Yeah. One final thing before we head into the first battle. Ice Chris, I believe, is from Chile, and Rocha is also from LATAM. So I think either way, we have a LATAM champion. I'm kind of sad that Marto isn't here to cast this. But yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. Let's see which Latin America caster here is going to come out on top. And it's going to be a very neutral lead, Golisopod into Shadow Drapion.
Yeah, the Fury Cutter does make this matchup a lot better than it used to be with that Shadow Claw. but you still would rather not throw immediately as the Golisopod, because then you are giving that Drapion the chance to get a full Poison Sting through, as Ice Chris just takes the shield advantage and swaps into the Azumarill.
Interesting, trying to bait out this Cradilly, because we do see that there is that Galarian Moltres in the backline, a Pokemon that generally does not want to face off against Rock types. Not throwing an Ice Beam, though, letting a Rock Tomb come through first. This might make it so Azu's not even able to two-shot. It's going to be kind of an awkward matchup now for Chris.
Yeah, this Ice Beam is going to come through. It's not going to be shielded by Rocha, and we'll have to see whether the Ice Beam even gets outpaced over the next move from the Cradilly, and it looks like it does. But as you said, I think that Rock Tomb means that this does not take out the Cradilly.
If you want switch advantage here, you could shield your Azu, get the farm down. The issue is that Golisopod, up the amount of energy that it has, is going to make it so switch is basically useless to you once this Azumarill goes down. So I think you have to let this Grass Knot go. You have to farm down and try to get an energy lead yourself. But you're going to get, what, maybe 1 or 2 fast moves out of this? I feel like at this point, Golisopod is going to be very tricky to take down.
Yeah, he does only get 1 Poison Sting there, but he still does have that shield advantage. However, yeah, so much energy on that Golisopod, I don't know if that shield advantage matters.
Yeah, here comes an Aqua Jet. We see a shield, but the second Aqua Jet will be coming through very shortly after, right before the crunch. Not even a bait attempt by Ice Chris. Maybe, though, after seeing this Aqua Jet already reached, Ice Chris will realize Aqua Jet, or Aqua Tail rather, might need to be thrown to try to get a shield here. In fact, we don't see that. Instead, we see a catch on the crunch, a full Air Slash sneak. This is just unwinding for Ice Chris. Rocha in such a good position.
Yeah, that's a great play by Rocha, and also he hard punishes that kind of soft ABA into the Mandibuzz, as we do see it is the Moltres in the back, and with a shield advantage on the side of the Mandibuzz, I think it might be able to fully sweep this game.
You might be able to get to a fly. I'd be surprised if you can get to 2 here, though. Air Slash is going to have a bit more fast food pressure. Maybe you will get to 2, because this Moltres, it looks a lot better than mine. My Moltres sucks so much, it would probably get knocked out by 2. This one might be able to either force more energy from this Pokemon or potentially get to a second fly. Either way, there is still a Golisopod with energy. You caught the crunch. I think no matter what happens here, it's still going to be a very safe game for Rocha.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what move Ice Chris throws. He does make the right call and goes for the Brave Bird, but this Moltres is so low. Goes for the fly against this Mandibuzz even. This is looking just so good for Rocha. Just lets his Mandibuzz go, as he does have still so much health left on his Golisopod and a shield.
We do have the option to try to go for a bait here. Aqua Tail will come through. Are you going to reach a crunch before the next Aqua Jet from this Golisopod? It's going to be close, but I think Golisopod is going to just have that energy lead thanks to the catch earlier on. And just barely, it was a very close matchup. Maybe if one more Aqua Tail bait would have happened this game, then Ice Chris could have had it. But because there was not the amount of energy that you needed, this Golisopod just able to shred through the backline and take the win in game number 1 for Rocha Babyface.
Yeah, slightly closer than I thought when Rocha made all of those nice catches. But still, the score's on the wrong. Yeah, sorry. Confused me a bit. My bad. Yeah, Rocha just made all the right plays, right? With that Cradilly, with that Golisopod, just making sure he always had so much energy stored. Ice Chris maybe giving up the Azumarill a bit too early there, as that was his only real Golisopod sponge.
Yeah, I think that he really wanted to bait out a potential Cradilly. The problem is, by doing that, you also just give them a huge advantage by taking out that Azumarill that looks so good into the rest of the team. Maybe if you could bait out that Cradilly with a different Pokemon and keep your Azu for the backline, they could have put in some more work against that Golisopod Mandibuzz core. The fact that it did line up into the one really bad matchup, it kind of shows how you want to use your Azumarill in those neutral scenarios where you can get some sort of a shield advantage. When it's in those bad spots, you can really take advantage of it. And Rocha was able to build up energy with Golisopod against it, use that Cradilly against it, and keep it off of that Mandibuzz.
Yeah, so going into the next game, I wonder how will Ice Chris be able to play against this Golisopod, because it just did so much work as we head into that second game, and it is led into the Azumarill. So this is actually probably one of the better places that Ice Chris wants to see it.
Yeah, very neutral matchup here, but the best thing about this is, as the Azumarill, you never need to shield anything. Fury Cutter, because it's such a good move, does still do quite a bit of fast move pressure into the Azumarill, but the charge attacks aren't really going to threaten either, and you're going to get two-shot by these play roughs. So the shorter this matchup is, the better it is for Azu. If you start to shield, then potentially down the line, Golisopod can start making it kind of close, but just getting rid of this Golisopod, or at least getting it down this low this early on, could be good, but there is an Annihilate in the backline that's going to face off against some pretty tricky matchups later on.
Yeah, if we take a peek into the backlines, we do see that Annihilate and Drapion, but I think Roach has just got such an advantageous position with the Air/Mandibuzz and the Dusclops, right? So that Annihilate's got nowhere to go. The Drapion is likely to be matched up into that Mandibuzz, and this is just not a great position for Ice Chris to be in.
Now, depending on the moveset of Annihilate, it might have Ice Punch, and so if Annihilate does get lined up into the Mandibuzz, has Ice Punch, somehow makes something happen there, that's like the one thing that I can see. Hold on, okay, maybe an interesting play here too, leveraging that shield advantage, going for the Aqua Tail instantly. At the very least, this time you catch the move, but it's an Aqua Tail, so Ice Chris would have thrown this move anyway. But now that Dusclops in the backline will line up almost certainly into that Annihilate, which is going to be a very tricky situation for Chris to deal with.
Yeah, Roach are doing so well to just make sure he always has energy on that Golisopod, and just using this Mandibuzz as a sponge for all of this Drapion energy. This is a pretty positive matchup for that Mandibuzz because non-stab Aqua Tails just really don't do that much.
If this was a run back of the first game, then Ice Chris would be thinking at this point that Annihilate would line up into a Cradilly in the backline, but Rocha ran back the same team, just a different third Pokemon here, disrespecting Azumarill just a little bit more in the back. And that might pay off, saying at this point that Dusclops is probably going to sweep once this Drapion goes down.
Ice Chris is going to bank the Aqua Tail and swap out into his Azumarill. Is maybe going to get a play rough against this Dusclops. We'll have to see whether that changes too much. But this Dusclops is getting so much energy as a head start against this Annihilate in the back.
If it weren't already bad, this is just going to make things even worse. A full Hex down. Shadow Drapion at this point is in Hex or Shadow Punch range. Annihilate doesn't want to take a single charge attack here if it can help it. I think at this point, Rocha potentially is going to defend his title and become the Clash of the Caster champion once again.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he manages to just hang on to this positive position that he has, or whether Ice Chris can somehow dance around with the remaining Drapion energy that he has, and this last shield here on the Annihilate against the Dusclops.
We see both shields come up. You have yet another Shadow Punch ready to go. Golisopod still has energy. It is low on HP, but at this point, this Shadow Punch is going to put this Annihilate deep into the yellow. You have a move on the Mandibuzz, and I don't know if there's anything Chris can do at this point. Rocha is in such a dominant position. 3 Pokemon still left on the field. You still have a shield as well, and this Drapion, while it has energy, gets air slashed down.
Congratulations to Rocha on once again winning the Clash of the Casters tournament, as he really just dominated Ice Chris, takes him down 2-0. Very well played with all of his energy management right on that Mandibuzz, on that Golisopod, on that Dusclops. Just great plays by him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I wasn't expecting a repeat champion here, but just proving at this point, Latin America, some of the best battlers in the world. We saw Ice Chris here making it to the finals, Rocha as well in the finals, able to take the win once again. Big congratulations to Rocha. Great battles all around from every trainer who entered this tournament. And once again, DrTrotter, who got second place as well, I believe an Australian battler representing pretty well here too. So a lot of different regions putting in a very good show. Rocha taking it once again and becoming your champion.
Yeah, not only the different regions and different casters doing well, but also I liked seeing all the different picks that people were right. The Shadow Sableye in the end winning it all, but we did have that double Steelbug combination in second place. We did have TomahawkUK finishing quite high up with that Runerigus and Kommo-o combination. So it's cool to see all of these different picks doing so well.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of different spice here. And the thing is, we aren't going to see a lot of Play Pokemon events here before the World Championship. So this is a very good insight as to where the meta might be right now. It might be shaken up a little bit in a week or two when a new Pokemon gets released. But at least right now, it's going to be a very interesting take on the meta, where we see a lot of old Pokemon that we're seeing that worked at NAIC, and then some adjustments as well to make it so Pokemon like that Fortress maybe is going to be good. A Pokemon like the Runerigus that also kind of put in some work for Tomahawk, as you said, But there are a lot of different spice picks. Shadow Quagsire, a Pokemon that we saw time and time again, just as a flexible option in this meta here. And I think at this point, we just have to wait and see what Worlds has in store. But I'm excited to see what that meta is going to be like.
I think most people are definitely excited. I am obviously one of them as well. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, of course. I mean, it is Worlds, but it's probably going to be fun whether you find the right team or not. I guess it's kind of just find the right combination of winning and having fun. But we are joined back by Marto and Steve finally again. It's been a long time.
I've missed you guys, but no, those were some incredible battles, and as you've said, all of the key points. Some really great battles and some really interesting picks. I mean, Marto, I don't know who was responsible for having you dodge the Latin America finals. Once I find that guy, I've got some words. But how this tournament play out?
It's okay. It was not for not jinxing my teammate.
Yeah, it was tactical. But how is the tournament?
This Rocha Babyface seems like a pretty good battler, promising.
Yeah, you know what? This guy might have a future.
No, but the team is also interesting, right? Aegislash coming down in like a week maybe or a bit more, and I think that team has enough answers for Aegislash and can even maybe fit in the team. So that was a very strong team in itself and even future-proof maybe. So very well done by Rocha Babyface.
Look, I mean, we saw him defeat the NAIC champion team a little bit earlier in the stream as well. And so, it seems like it has a lot of answers for a lot of different things. Maybe the team can stand the test of time and fight all the way through. I mean, I guess shout out to the Iamero Ash and Ash team for taking out the Clash of the Casters. Too strong, apparently. I mean, you look, Rocha ran it at NAIC as well. And so I guess carrying it on here, I was able to fight through some very strong opponents. And we can actually take a little bit of a look at the final standings of the tournament as well. We can see Rocha up there with the 5-0 result, undefeated, only dropping 3 battles through the tournament. Not in the finals, though, just a little bit earlier, with DrTrotter securing second place with a very close 11-4. But look at this list of names. I mean, there's a lot of really strong battlers here. You can see Arceus Aurelius came up really close with the top of the 3-2s. Nighttime Clasher, he's hanging out in the bottom right-hand corner, but he did only play 3 matches, so maybe that checks out. But look, there's a lot of really strong names here, and really happy with how the tournament all played out. And Tomahawk and Steps and Ice Chris actually all managed to land on the equal third place as well.
Yeah, what a crazy tournament, and just one game away from getting second. DrTrotter clutch in the end, so a big round of applause for him, and very well played, everyone.
I just want to say, while we did have sophtoph here making it winner's side into day number 2, we didn't even have an NA battler in the top 4. In fact, we did have an EU trainer making it into third place there with Tomahawk tied with Steps and Ice Chris as well. So NA's really got to step up next time.
Yeah, and NA is down bad, but maybe they're saving for Worlds. We'll see.
We saw that in the week 1 stream as well, where North America really wasn't doing too hot throughout the entire stream. We almost had MEweedle's dream come true with Tomahawk trying to reverse his loss, get all the way up to that third place spot, but unfortunately not quite able to reverse time. Unfortunately, hey, he beat me on the way, so I was trying to make it easy for him. That's all right.
Yeah, also interesting fact, Arceus, Omar, and Soph got a 3-2, but has the same score as the 4-1 players, except DrTrotter. So this shows how intense this tournament was, right? And a lot of wins from all sides.
Yeah.
So a very close tournament.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually kind of crazy that we've got 6 straight battlers in that 3rd through 8th spot, all on that 10-5 battle win rate. You really hit the nail on the head. It was a very, very close tournament. And hey, some guy went 9-6. I don't know about that guy, but he seems all right as well. But,
I think that guy is looking to be the world champion 2025.
Yeah. Watch out. He's another up and comer. Very, very soon. But look, massive shout out to all of these guys for competing in this tournament. Of course, this is only the top 24 as well. It sort of cuts off some folks at the end. But massive thank you to sort of, I guess, giving the time, spending the effort, coordinating with casters, which, look, as a caster myself and having competed in this tournament, casters are not the easiest to, schedule battle times with. They're master dodgers. And so luckily, able to fight through the dodging and get this tournament underway. So massive thank you to everyone for competing. And of course, thank you to the three of you for coming on and casting today. Axon, Marto, and MEweedle as well. 3 international champions from all around the world. And I mean, I guess I'm representing OCIC, but top 16 OCIC over here, I suppose. That's all we can do. I wasn't gonna wake Yakko up from his slumber. Retired. But thank you guys for coming on. I guess, Axon, any last words before we sort of head off?
Yeah, well, just thanks for having us on here. Once again, congratulations to Rocha Babyface on the win. I mean, I'd say I'm surprised that we saw a back-to-back champion, but I know how good he is as a battler. So I think at this point, it's just going to give him a lot more momentum heading into Worlds. Hopefully he's going to be able to take it and do pretty well there as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to count him out, that's for sure. But Marto, what about you? Last words before we end the stream?
Yeah, thanks so much. It was very fun. I really like the battles. I don't think there was that much RPS. There was a lot of interesting plays to be seen. So it was just very fun overall. And yeah, Rocha Babyface showing the dominance. Maybe the best caster, time will tell. Maybe world champion 2025. So congratulations to him. But yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, he's going to have some hard competition. And maybe, hopefully next season, maybe MartoGalde becomes the greatest caster in the world as well. We'll see. But MEweedle, last words again. Massive thank you for coming in at such last minute as well. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you for reaching out to me last second. I'm glad to be back. We did say maybe Rocha world champion, but we all know that at best he's finishing second place, as we have in the top left corner the 2025 world champion. So sorry to disappoint you already, Marto. But
True.
It'll be good finals though. I'll make it close.
Bring your Goliathable answers.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, if Roger and I are both stealing our teams from the same guy, I mean, maybe I've got to go something different. I'll ask Ash and Eamero what the team to beat the team is. But with that said, massive thank you again to everyone for coming out and casting, and thank you guys out there for watching as well, for supporting events like this. There's not a lot of grassroots events like these that do go around these days, so appreciate it when people do sort of come out and give it a watch. But with that said, thanks again for everyone for coming out, and we'll see you in the next one. Congratulations to Rocha Babyface for not only winning the second Clash of the Casters, but also taking another $100 USD from my bank account. So at this point, I might just give him the details, and he can just pilfer it as much as he wants. 'Cause I don't think it's going to be the last time. With that said, we're going to head off, but massive thank you everyone, and we'll see you in the next time. Take care, guys.